changed here under Trump's presidency?
Close your eyes. That's what changed. Nothing.
Yes, we closed our eyes to all the failures that Trump had accumulated in his insignificant business career. His failures are as big as his lies are. Blockbuster. Trump Airlines. In 1988, Trump took 245 million loan to purchase airplanes. You must remember this, the golden colored bathroom fixtures, the lavish interior that was considered borderline crazy for an industry that was bleeding money for years. 2 years, that's all it took for Trump to run his airline into the ground and default. Trump casinos. Not once, three times. Trump filed for bankruptcy for his Atlantic City casinos. In 91, Trump Taj Mahal was underwater by $3 billion. He filed for bankruptcy again in 2004, this time for Trump Marina and Trump Plaza casinos. After bankruptcy, Trump reorganized Trump hotels and casinos as Trump Entertainment Resorts. And once again, the new company was underwater, missing debt payments and declaring bankruptcy in 2008. Almost 20 years, and he failed three times in an industry that is supposed to keep making money like a mountain stream that never runs out of water. Trump Magazine. No one noticed that Trump actually had a magazine, but it only took 2 years for it to fly out of the shelf. Started in 2007 and folded in 2009. Trump Mortgage. Nothing explains the business acumen of Trump better than his foray into the mortgage industry. 2 years before the housing market crashed and burned under the weight of Wall Street, Trump started a mortgage company, declaring it's a great time to start a mortgage company, adding that the real estate market will be very strong for a long time to come. It took less than 800 days for his forecast to crash land. Trump Mortgage closed its doors on September 2007. Barely a year, that's all it took for him to pack his bags and run away from the mortgage industry. Trump Stakes. The less I speak, the better it is. Here he is, as usual, blowing things out of proportion.
When it comes to great stakes, I've just raised the stakes. The Sharper Image is one of my favorite stores with fantastic products of all kinds. That's why I'm thrilled they agree with me. Trump steaks are the world's greatest steaks, and I mean that in every sense of the word.
It just took a couple of months to pull the steaks out of the shelves. And then Trump started a travel site, gotrump.com, which kind of traveled nowhere, started in 2006 and folded in 2007. Trump University. Trump promoted it as a way for people to join the university and understand how Trump succeeded and pay as much as $34,000 for their learning. Instead of picking great educators, Trump University was lined up with people without degrees, and some were even reported as having a criminal record. As usual, the university went belly up, and it has left Trump with 2 class action lawsuits. And despite all the evidence that this man could not start a viable business and run it, millions of people around the country were sold into the idea that he is a great entrepreneur. The only thing that is great about him is how he is so good at running things into the ground. And then he will lie, and if he gets caught, he will lie even more. Before Trump walked into the White House, he proudly declared that under his presidency, the United States will wipe out the $19 trillion debt. He did not wipe out the debt. Instead, he added more debt to the country, more than any president has ever done in the history of United States in 4 years. A record that will be very hard to even match, all under the careful watch of fiscal conservatives in name only Republicans. In 4 years, Trump added $6.8 trillion to the national debt. Trump claimed that the massive tax cut he gave to the corporations and the ultra rich will deliver the greatest economy we have ever seen. Nope, it never did, and it was another lie. Before the pandemic hit and after the tax cut filled the pockets of the ultra rich, the economy was growing at just over 2%. A $1 trillion tax cut in exchange for a slowdown in the economy long before the pandemic hit our shores. The tax cut was promoted as a way for corporations to reinvest in the country. That did not happen. As the federal deficit exploded, the corporations took home the windfall while hardly investing in the country. The let's take home the windfall attitude was so prevalent that right after the tax cut went into effect, as you can see from the chart here, business investment slowed and turned negative. And this was before the pandemic. The biggest legacy of Trump, the tax cut, is the worst failure of this administration. Companies are now paying less in taxes and they are investing less in the country. Go figure. It was not trickle down economics, it was suck it all the way up economics. Consumer debt, excluding mortgages, was $4 trillion. $4 trillion before the pandemic hit, the highest it has ever been. And did the tax cut deliver the jobs it was promised? Nope, it did not. Before the pandemic, Trump created 1.5 million less jobs than Obama created in his last 36 months. Rick Wilson, the Lincoln Project co-founder, was right when he said this in 2018.
We should be grateful as a country we have yet to face an actual foreign policy crisis or economic crisis. Because when you can't just blame cast and talk about the swamp, the liberal media, or crooked Hillary, things are going to get ugly fast. And no one wants a terrorist attack on this country. No one wants an economic collapse. But more presidents than not have had one of those things happen. No one wants a natural disaster. More presidents than not have had these things confront them. And this is a man spectacularly unable to confront these kind of things because he is not externally directed. He's internally directed about his ego and his petty needs.
But unfortunately, we were hit with a national emergency under Donald Trump's presidency. We have already lost 290,000 Americans to the coronavirus. India, that has nearly 4 times as many people as the United States and 7 times smaller than the United States in size, and a healthcare system that is nowhere near what the United States has less cases than the US and far less deaths than the United States. Ask Donald Trump. He will tell you that the US has more cases because we are testing more. Well then, how did so many people die? Yesterday, the United States lost 3,000 Americans to COVID. Germany, 458. France, 296. And Spain, 214. And India, 412. So add all that up. Germany, France, Spain and India, 1 developing country and 3 developed countries all added up together have 5 times the population of the United States and 20% less deaths than the United States. We expected a lifelong failure to succeed in running one of the most complicated organizations in the world, the US government. And we expected this failure to lead us out of one of the worst pandemic in our history. He did not lead us. Instead, he has turned us into a global laughingstock. No country in the world has lot more people die to COVID than the United States. And we have broken death records for nearly every single day since December. Now he has lost the election. In his own words, getting 306 electoral votes is a landslide. Trump won in 2016 with the help of 3 Midwestern states, edging over Clinton by just 77,000 votes. That too, despite a sharp downturn in African American votes. Something that is never going to happen ever again after 4 years of Trump. Biden won the same Midwest with a margin of more than 400,000 votes, but the lying potmouth has been on a rant today saying that he won the election. And the latest lie is no one ever won Ohio and Florida and lost the election. One big old lie. Nixon lost to JFK in 1960 despite winning Florida and Ohio. So Donald Trump is a complete failure. No matter in which direction you want to measure, Trump wants to keep up the specter of running again in 2024. I sincerely hope that he runs again in 2024. The other side will win with a margin of 8 to 10 million votes. Thanks for watching. If you like, please subscribe.